Yeah. You got to choose. On.
Correct. இதெல்லாம் நீங்களே இன்ஃபர்மேஷன்லாம் கேட்டு இதெல்லாம் வந்தீங்கன்னா போய் எட்டி பார்த்தீங்கன்னா ரொம்ப சந்தோஷப்படுவாரு. See, Vadasandar people, even the administration people, madam, all attend
He's talking to somebody else. Start. Good afternoon, sir. Am I audible, sir?
Yeah.
Yeah, very good afternoon, sir. This is Damodar Reddy, Director, ICAR Central Tobacco Research Institute, Rajahmundry. It's our pleasure to have you this afternoon, sir, for a prestigious lecture on Indian agriculture transforming from subsistence to commercial farming. So, without wasting much time, I'll just ask one of my colleagues to initiate the lecture.
Good afternoon to one and all present here. I feel extremely privileged and honored to be given this opportunity to welcome honorable members from Indian Council of Agriculture Research Headquarters, Director Central Tobacco Research Institute, Directors of different ICR institutes, Head of the divisions, scientists across India, scientific fraternity from CTRI and other faculty from all the institutes of the nation. As a part of ongoing celebrations of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, commemorating the 75 years of India's independence, ICR Central Tobacco Research Institute Rajahmundry is organizing lecture series. Honorable Chairman from NABARD, Mumbai, Dr. G.R. Chintala sir, kindly accepted to deliver a very special lecture on the topic Indian agriculture transformation from subsistence to commercial farming. This session is chaired by Director ICR CTRI. We are very grateful for your glorious presence in this virtual meet here, sir. Now I request our respected director to give introduction of the speaker.
Thank you, Dr. Hema. Namaskar, one and all again. Sir, it's my pleasure to introduce the today's chief guest as well as the special speaker, Dr. G.R. Chintala. Of course, he is very popular and he may not require a lengthy introduction because he is widely known, particularly in the fields of agriculture and rural development sector. Nevertheless, I would like to take only a few minutes before I hand over the floor to Dr. Chintala and just briefly touch upon few important things about the today's speaker. We all know Dr. Chintala is presently the chairman of National Bank for Agriculture and Rural Development, an apex development financial institution in this country. He is also holding the chairmanship of Asia Pacific Rural and Agriculture Credit Association, which is an association of 24 countries, involving the institutions involved in agriculture, finance, and rural development. Actually, that organization promotes the productivity, growth, self-reliance, and welfare of the rural people in Asia Pacific region. He is also the serving as the chairman of several other the associated agencies of the NABARD. For example, he is holding the chairmanship of the NABARD Consultancy Services, NABARD Ventures, NABARD Foundations, and NABARD Sanrakshan. And he is also the governing, he is on the chairman of the governing council of the Bankers Institute of Rural Development, which is headquartered at Lucknow. And he is also serving as on the several prestigious boards of the institutions, like Indian Institute for Rural Management, IRMA, Anand, Gujarat, DICGC, Advisory Board of Indian Institute of Management, Ahmedabad, which are few. There is a big list of institutions for which he is directly associated and guiding, mentoring many of the financial institutions across the country. Coming to his contributions in the sector are well known, but nevertheless, he has played a pivotal role in promoting and nurturing the farmer producer organizations, FPOs, in the state of Karnataka. He also he has been instrumental in promoting, launching the Livelihood Enterprise Development Program, area development schemes, and alternative energy models in the state of Karnataka. In Port Blair, he has also been instrumental in establishing Agriculture Research Center in collaboration with one of our ICAR institutes located in Andaman and Nicobar, Port Blair, that is Central Agriculture Research Institute. He headed the Microcredit Innovation Department of NABARD, wherein he played a very key role in rolling out the digitalization of the world's largest microfinance program under the project E-Shakti. He played a key role in driving the world's largest poverty alleviation cum women empowerment program, the self-help group movement comprising 10 million groups involving 100 million members. That's a huge number. And he handled several prestigious consultancy assignments, including consolidation of 196 RRBs. And also he played a key role in extending the consultancy in evaluating the efficacy of the Swarna Jayanti Gram SGSY Yojgar Yojana. Then that has recommendations of this committee consultancy program has led to launching of very important program at the national level, that is National Rural Livelihood Mission, which is now being playing a key role in transforming the rural livelihood sector. And coming to his educational qualifications, he is graduated from the famous Agriculture College at Bapatla. Then he went on to have post-graduation in Seed Science and Technology from the IARI, Indian Agriculture Research Institute, New Delhi, alumni of which comprise most of us who are attending this lecture to this evening. Then he got honorary doctorate in science by the Professor Jayasankar, Telangana State Agriculture University, Hyderabad. And he has got more than 3.5 decades of service in particularly finance and agriculture finance and rural development sector. And with his vast experience, he is truly a multifaceted personality and is a leader in the agribusiness. And also he is rightly has been awarded recently the Most Promising Business Leader Award 2021 by the Economic Times. That clearly exemplifies the kind of personality he has and the kind of experience and expertise he has got. And today we are fortunate to have him with his inputs and also the thoughts that he is going to share with us are going to help us in shaping our research programs. And this lecture is specifically designed, planned by our group so as to lend some credence to the ongoing celebrations of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, and is going to touch upon some of the key developments that have led to the transformation of agriculture from subsistence to commercial agriculture. Nowadays, the commercial agriculture is the order of the day. So with this, the very rich experience, with this introduction, I expect the participants who are with us now, numbering more than 75, I think. Yeah, no, more than 75 participants are there as of now. So all of them are eagerly waiting for your lecture, sir. Without taking much time between you and the participants, I would like to hand over the floor to you, sir. Dr. Chintala, please.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. And first of all, I'm extremely thankful to all the audience who had assembled today through the virtual means to listen to this topic on a very contemporary nature. At the outset, I would like to congratulate ICAR and the Central Tobacco Research Institute and its director for organizing a lecture series focusing on contemporary issues of relevance to agriculture. Indeed, the agriculture continues to be the mainstay of Indian economy. As we celebrate the Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav to mark the 75th year of independence, it may be an opportune moment to think over and discuss various contemporary issues related to Indian agriculture sector, such as the importance of the sector to our economy today, the path of development adopted by the earlier since independence, and the future direction of the sector. As a student of agriculture, as told by Director Saab, that I was student from Bapatla College, and also I did my post-graduation from IRA, and subsequently I joined NABARD through the campus recruitment. And since then, in the last 35 years, I rose in this organization to the chairman level. And this organization, which is maybe a linchpin in the entire agriculture development, particularly with regard to the credit, actually we have a very great role to play. And I wish that my agriculture education and also the experience which I am having with regard to the development banking, which creates quite a lot of a synergy. So I am very happy that I am able to speak to all of you who are involved in the agricultural research in a very big way. So I am keenly following the developments in the agriculture sector and happy to share my views with you on this topic, that is Indian agriculture transformation from subsistence to commercial farming. So I just want to give a brief as to what exactly NABARD does. NABARD, National Bank for Agriculture and Rural Development, is a 6.57 lakh crore balance sheet organization. It's a developmental or the All India financial institution. We have a very clear mandate of giving the policy advocacy, extending refinance, and also helping the state governments to create the rural infrastructure, besides doing so many other things with regard to the development of the sector. So now with all this mandate in the last 40 years, we have done a wonderful job, starting with a balance sheet of 4,000 crores in 1980 to 83. Today we are at 6.57. And by the year end, on 31st March, we are raring to reach the 7.5 lakh crore, which is a very phenomenal kind of an achievement. And all these things can be attributed only to the burgeoning sector of agriculture, where tremendous amount of credit flow is happening and the production processes are happening. And at the same time, quite a lot of innovations are also taking place in this agriculture field. So I would like to just put before all of you as to what exactly is happening and really how I view this agriculture in future, as we're all looking into it, that the next decade is nothing but a decade of disruption. And nobody knows really what kind of a new jobs that are there. As I was looking at it, that is in the 2030, really how the economy and how the sectors are going to perform, nobody knows. And so far, the jobs also have not been invented. And the same thing is with the agriculture also. It's undergoing a rapid transformation, and really we should be there to keep in touch with the developments that are happening and devise the methodology and also mechanism to catch with this kind of developments and see that the agriculture prospers and the farmer remains profitable. So that is the main aim of NABARD and also the other developmental financial institutions, the banking sector. And I know that the greatest role being played by the ICR and also agriculture universities in propelling this agriculture to a great kind of a height. So here, before starting, I would like to say that once I was speaking in a seminar abroad, in a Apraka seminar, and there one of the agriculture minister was asking me that we were also ruled by foreigners and you were also ruled by foreigners. But thing is how India could make such kind of a development in agriculture while we are not able to do it. So now, then he asked me that, can you explain as to really what exactly was the trick behind India achieving this kind of milestones? So then I was explaining actually that we were very fortunate in the country that after independence, a very great amount of institutional development has taken place with regard to creating very big research network through ICR, then agricultural universities, and also the banking institutions, creating the priority sector lending credit, creating institutions like NABARD, and also giving a kind of a preeminence to the things that are in the agriculture. So all these things, besides the green revolution, other kind of developments that have taken place, have made this country not only self-reliant, but thing is also an exporting kind of a country. So now this is how actually this country has progressed. So I always say in my organization, Indian agriculture rests on a tripod. The first leg of the tripod is the research and development, where the ICR and the agriculture universities, they do immense work on this one. And the next leg of this tripod is the extension work being done by many people. And the third one is the banking industry. Nowhere else in the world, actually, you have a banking industry so tuned to give the impetus to the agriculture development. So that is where I feel that Indian agriculture is making such kind of a progress because of this kind of a convergence that is happening with among all these three kinds of institutions. So now let me look into as to really how the importance of agriculture sector is there for the country. The agriculture and also allied sector is of immense importance to the Indian economy and contributes about 1/6 of national economy. It also provides direct employment to around 50% of the workforce and is fundamental for ensuring food security. And also that during the COVID-19 pandemic, we found really how the agriculture had outperformed all other sections to create that kind of a food security to the large population in this country. In addition, it influences the secondary and tertiary sectors of economy through its forward and backward linkages. And the performance of agriculture sector greatly influences socio-economic outcomes. As we have seen when we are going through the World Development Report, they say that the growth in agriculture is on average at least twice as effective in reducing poverty compared to the growth emanating outside agriculture. So agricultural growth directly reduces poverty, and also it raises farm incomes and indirectly generate a lot of employment and reduce the food prices. So all these things are the mainstay of agriculture and really how it is important. Now, let me go into it. Having spoken about the importance of agriculture, I would like to just briefly touch upon as to really how the status of Indian agriculture was there on the eve of independence. Many of you are the agriculture students and I was there, but thing is, many of us probably might not have delved into such kind of a depth as to really how the Indian agriculture was there at the time of independence. When we were going through the entire literature, actually as a part of developmental banking, I was looking into it really as to how that Indian agriculture over a period of time from 1911 onwards had gone into a decline. Between 1911 and 1941, that is in the 3 decades, actually that agricultural growth rate was just 0.72%. And also it was not keeping pace with the population growth. So consequently, at the time of independence, we have inherited the agriculture sector that lacked the strength to support a growing economy like India, and also not able to provide for that 72% of the workforce that was engaged in the agriculture sector, which was contributing 50% of the GDP of that time. So now imagine that time India was facing frequent droughts, acute shortage of food, and also forcing us to rely on other countries to import food and also things. So now the famous PL 480 was an outcome of all these kinds of things that had happened. So now, at the time of independence, we were producing hardly around 50 million tons and almost was a ship to mouth. But quite a lot of a change had happened subsequently. As we could track, we have seen that a series of reforms since independence had really made this country self-sufficient in this one. So now one of the greatest reform that had happened was the land reform. In this, at the time of independence, entire land mass in India was under in the hands of zamindars and also maybe few big landlords, and it was very unproductive because most of the serfs or the people who are depending on them for the kind of a tenant cultivation were not able to put any kind of investment into this one, and so the agricultural fields were very unproductive. But subsequently, the government of India had abolished this kind of a zamindari, and also they brought the land ceiling act and few other things, and also redistribution of land. Though the zamindari has gone, but thing is the land ceiling was having a kind of a mixed kind of a result. So still that land redistribution had not happened, but at the same time, quite a lot of changes had happened in the rural landscape, and many of the farmers, many of the tenant cultivators have become the landowners. So that was the greatest thing that had happened. The next great thing, actually, the reform which was initiated post-independence was the Green Revolution. That, as we are all aware, that when India was facing acute food crisis, Many countries were not even willing to give us the food, but at the same time, we then Prime Minister and also the bureaucrats of that time had taken a bold decision to take the country to the next growth path in agriculture by initiating the Green Revolution. So now between
Some network issue is there. Some network issue is there. I request participants to please wait. Hello, 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 hello. Some network issue is there. I request participants to please wait for 5 minutes.
Am I visible and audible?
Sir, you are audible, sir.
What about visible?
No, sir.
Now?
Not it, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So I think, I don't know at what stage I was not becoming audible. So I can just take, okay, now we'll say that I will start that really how the things are happening. The institutions created at the time of after independence. As we told that actually the Green Revolution has started, and many of us are very familiar with the Green Revolution as to really what had happened. But at the same time, now today that Green Revolution benefits a little bit tapered off, and there is a kind of a productivity plateau has come. So now that somebody like Dr. Gulati had studied the effects of the Green Revolution and also in phases. And he found really how the Green Revolution was divided into 3 phases. In the first phase between 1965 to 72, where we had the highest amount of productivity, that a few great institutions were created, like that ACP, Agricultural Price Commission, today it's called as the CSCP, and which set up to recommend the MSP has come, and also that FCI, that to make the procurement, these were the guarantees they give to the farmers of the time. And the research and extension, that all the ICR institutes and also the agriculture universities were geared up to give that kind of H5 seeds, and also from the Mexico and everything was there, and that way the things have come. And also the inputs, there's quite a lot of crucial inputs were started being provided in the Green Revolution. In the existing irrigation structure that was there by that time, the states like Punjab, Haryana and Western Uttar Pradesh have taken the benefit, and they really give the rich dividends to this one. And the outcome was, by 1971-72 itself, actually we have increased our food grain production to 105 million tons. The next phase was the 1973 to 80, and this was marked by increased role of subsidies. The agriculture subsidies, including the fertilizer, were increased from 0.5 to 4% of the agricultural GDP. The groundwater irrigation, where the institutions like Agricultural Refinance and Development Corporation, which was a precursor to NABARD. So this institution had played a very great role in creating the private irrigation through the tube wells. Then the next phase was that 1981 to 90, where we saw that input subsidy had increased to 7.2%. The HYV technologies have been spread to the eastern regions, but the Green Revolution had ran out of steam in many regions of the country. Now, today, the biggest problem which we look into it is production is there, but the marginal productivity has come down. Input cost has gone up, labor charges have gone up, cost of cultivation has gone up. But at the same time, the terms of trade for agriculture were not so favorable. So in that process, the farmers' profitability is a big issue of contention. So that is where actually institutions like NABARD, Government of India and others are working, because one part is the producing, but the other part is with regard to making the entire activity as a profitable. So these are the things which we have to look into it in a very serious way. So now really how the agriculture sector is today. Today, actually, that Indian agriculture is still a backbone of the Indian economy. Unlike advanced countries where only 2 or 3% of the people are dependent on agriculture, in India, even today, particularly the post-pandemic, which we have seen, even again, almost close to around 58 to 59% of the people are still dependent on agriculture. So this is a very vast population. At the time of independence, we were only around 35 crores. And that time, 50% or 70% of the population was minuscule when compared to the present day population of 140 crores, and still the 50% of the people depend on agriculture. So this is where I think we have to create a kind of a new mechanisms to see that agriculture remains very profitable, and also the farmers will stay put in agriculture to make it profitable also. So that is why we have to look into it in a much more serious way. So today, what are the characteristics of this agriculture? Are that one is, it is still a very source of livelihood and contribution to GDP. Now that, as I was telling, that almost 54 or 55% of the population, our total workforce in the country are engaged in agriculture. And the value to the GDP was 50% sometime back, had come down progressively to 15%. But only during the pandemic period, it has gone up to 20% because other sectors have got a very muted growth. And so as we have seen that during the pandemic period, agriculture had seen a very robust growth of 3.6% when other sectors have made a negative growth rate. And the other major thing is that ensuring food security to the nation. So straight away from 51 million tons of 1950, now we are 310 million tons. And this year we are going to reach 315 million tons. But when very mute point, which generally we all miss when we talk about the agricultural development is that the progress made in the horticulture, particularly with regard to the fruits and vegetables, is rarely mentioned in this kind of a context. But otherwise, when we are tracking, because as a developmental financial institution, as to really what is happening, up to 2001 and 2002, that horticulture production was around 150 million tons, and it was not making a great progress. But subsequently, from 2001 onwards, horticulture had made tremendous progress. Today, actually, the product quantum-wise, horticulture production is much more than agriculture production. Right now, it is around 330 million tons. And also the cotton, sugarcane, everything has gone up substantially. So now this security, food security, nutrition security is being ensured by the agriculture. The other major thing actually that many of us, particularly who are in the research, generally we look into only our things, and generally we don't pay attention to really what is happening in the rest of the things. But thing is, for me, that I had a maybe advantage of being agriculture student, and also the experience of being a development banker. We look into it really how the circular economy works in this entire agriculture. If you look into this one, in the last few decades, the allied sector had made tremendous progress in agriculture, and all this allied sector, whether it is fisheries, or animal husbandry, goatery, or to take any kind of a thing, whether it is mushroom cultivation or so many other things, all of them use the agriculture produce as the raw material, whether it is the agriculture byproducts or anything. So that is where this allied sector is growing very fast, and its contribution to GBI is also very high. And the other major thing which we can say that this country can really boast of is that we are producer of many commodities, and we are leading. And in some commodities, we are number one, number two, and all those things are there. And so in that way, that if you look into the population we are having, and if you look into the area of cultivation we are having, but at the same time, actually, we are producing a tremendous amount of quantity of everything, whether it is cereals, pulses, oil seeds, milk, tea, cashew, jute, and also sugarcane, cotton, oil seeds, fruits, vegetables, name anything. Actually, we are having some kind of a rank, 1, 2, 3, or anything in the global kind of a ranking. And that itself is a very big achievement of the entire country, which we can really be thankful to this one. And the other major thing that is happening right now is with regard to the Agri Exports. If you look into the statistics of 1970, I think we are exporting something around 149 crores worth of an agricultural produce. And today we have reached close to around $50 billion already crossed. And we are all in the next 3-4 years, we are going to reach $100 billion. And that itself is a very, very major achievement to make the agriculture profitable. So I will say that the agriculture is transforming from the subsistence to the profitable kind of a thing. As one window is the export window. And here we are exporting basically the marine products, non-basmati rice, spices, buffalo meat, sugar, cotton, castor oil, and tea, every kind of a thing. So now a substantial kind of investments are happening to make the Indian agriculture as a very big export-oriented kind of a thing, where institutions like NABARD and also the Government of India's other promotional projects, they are creating the backward linkages with regard to creation of the logistics, creation of the godowns, creation of the cold storages, and also the other facilities for facilitating the entire agri exports. So that is how the country is going ahead with this kind of a thing. So now, with all the things, but still we can say that now if you look into the profitability of the farming, the farming is still not a very profitable one. Some of the recent surveys which were done saying that 40% of the farmers say that they don't want to pursue the agriculture as it's not very profitable. And also NABARD has conducted a study called the NAFIS, NABARD Financial Inclusion Survey, where we found the average income of Indian agriculture household is something around 8,900 rupees or so. Now imagine per month. Now imagine the way the expenditures are going up and also the way the aspirations of the rural India has also gone up. Now this 8,900 is a very, very small amount. So now the time has come for us to see that agriculture migrates from subsistence level to the next growth path. So that is where we have to look into it. So when we see that actually that Indian agriculture is still growing below its potential, actually we have seen some kind of a number crunching, and we found that when compared to the growth of GDP of the total economy, that agricultural growth is comparatively muted, barring 1 or 2 years like 2013-14 and also during this pandemic year. Otherwise, in the remaining years, when the economy was growing at around 8%, 6% or 9%, actually the agricultural growth was between 2% to minus 0.2% or maybe something like that. So now this is one area where there's quite a lot of a fluctuation. It is not like a manufacturing activity where there's a continuous streaming of activity, but at the same time, we have to live with this one. So that why this Indian agriculture remains as a subsistence agriculture, this is a question which haunts everyone's mind. And we are the ones, when we are doing the credit planning in the country, we look into all these things in a much bigger way. And we found the first of the reasons is the small and fragmented land holdings. Now, in 1970s, the average Indian land holding was something around 8 to 10 acres per capita. And today that has been reduced to less than 1 or 2 acres of this thing. So that itself is a big kind of a change. As the land has got fragmented, the ability of the farmer to invest in this kind of a land for the future productivity has gone down substantially. And the other one is, despite creating so much of an irrigation infrastructure, still 50% of land area is still under the rain-fed farming, where that uncertainty always functions. And the other one is the degradation of natural resources. Actually, in the last 50-55 years, substantial degradation had happened with regard to the natural resource management. And there is an imbalanced use of fertilizers and inputs, and the mechanization, low productivity, everything is really creating a kind of a schism in the entire agricultural production. The next one is that with the emphasis on that cereal cultivation, actually we are neglecting other crops and also the health of the soil. And the other one is that lesser penetration on secondary agriculture or in situ valuation. This is the biggest trouble which we have seen when we are looking into it, that at the farmer level or maybe at the aggregate level of the farmers in a village, actually that valuation comparatively is very low. So that is where we all have to concentrate a bit of it. So now that is where my lecture and also the way our institution and also maybe other institutions of government also works is towards transforming the subsistence agriculture into the commercial agriculture. So really, what are the things which we have to look into it to make this the present trend to change and also signal a kind of a new development to go towards that kind of a commercialization. The first one is that shifting away from the cereal-based cultivation. Now, today we have seen the dietary patterns are undergoing a change. And many of the reports, not only here, all over the world, they say the present generation of the people are more protein conscious. Actually, they want to take more of a protein food rather than the cereals. And if that is the case, actually, there should be a shift away from this one, from cereals to the proteinaceous kind of a crop. And also that maybe the things like that milk, poultry, fisheries, etc. also to be increased. So now all these things are profitable, but at the same time, they have to be pursued vigorously by them to just make more money and all those things. So that we should move away from that monocropping and invest in the diversity of crops to ensure sustainable profitability of the farmers. So we have to look into it as to really how the cost of cultivation is reduced and the technology is put into the system, and also the farmers take up a new line of activity when compared to what they were doing traditionally. Then the next very important thing, which maybe though it is happening, but thing is when compared to the Western world, our investments in research and development and extension both are very, very small. When compared to many of the countries, actually, we spend hardly 0.65% of the agri GDP, not the total GDP, only 0.65% of the agri GDP on the agriculture R&D. And this is the one which is the major bane of creating, not able to create a very big infrastructure to propel that growth. So this is where I think some kind of a developments have to take place. Then the next one is that making the supporting Indian farms the smart way. Actually, this is where actually we have to look into it. One of the studies shows that if you put money, spend money on agricultural research, the return which you get is much higher in the agriculture, that is at 11.2%, while when compared to the fertilizer subsidy of 0.88, power subsidy of 0.79, education and also roads at 1.1. Now imagine just spending 1 rupee on agricultural research, you are going to get close to around 11 rupees. So that is the tremendous kind of a thing which is going to happen. So now the time has come for us to reorganize the agricultural research and also create new and new innovative technologies, and also the transferring the technology, whatever has been developed to the field at the fastest, so that the farmers remain profitable and also they produce more. And the other major thing that is happening during this year is with regard to the collectivization of the farmers. Now, many of us have seen that agriculture over a period of time has become a very fragmented kind of a thing, and small and marginal farmers are amounting to close to around 140 million, of which 124 million are the small and marginal farmers who own less than a hectare of land. And these people cannot invest so much of a money in any kind of a thing. And they do not have the bargaining power, either for the inputs or for that output sale also. So now all these things have really made them a very unprofitable, and also that going into the debt trap. So now a new paradigm has been created that is called the farmer producers organizations. We have seen NABARD is the precursor for these FPOs. And now NABARD and also a few other organizations of the government of India, we have rolled out on a pilot scale FPOs in the last 1 decade. So NABARD had rolled out around 5,000 FPOs with its own money. And now the government of India scheme has come to start another 10,000 FPOs. And we have seen really what kind of a benefit really the collectivization can come. Because a farmer segregating from 500 to maybe something around 3,000, 5,000 also. There are some places where the 5,000 farmers have come into this one. And they all got a kind of a collective vision, collective leadership, and at the same time, collective ability to produce something for the market where they can get a higher amount of money and all those things. So now we have conducted our own midterm studies in various states, right from Kashmir to Kanyakumari, and we found that a tremendous improvement had happened after the farmers came into this kind of a collective called the farmer producers organizations. And what are the things which they have seen? First of all, they are able to decide which crop suits the market and where the prices can be much better. The next one is what kind of a variety they can grow, so that actually all of them together, if they can do it, then the collective bargaining can come. And also that they are able to get that fertilizer and pesticide license from the department. So they are getting the traders commission of 25 to 30%, and that is helping them to reduce the cost of cultivation. And the fourth important thing is they were able to create their own valuation structures. They got money from institutions like NABARD and banks and also the government of India to have their own godowns and also sometimes the processing mills. And so that many of them are able to do the valuation at their level, which in turn had increased their profitability substantially. So the study conducted by us had shown that across the country, there was a benefit of around 30% to 60%, depending on the product which they are doing, and depending on the activities which are market centric, which they are pursuing. So when these things are happening, actually the government of India had taken note of all these things, and they have rolled out the new scheme, the central sector scheme of 10,000 FPOs. Already 2,000 FPOs have been commissioned last year, and another 2,000 are going to come now. But at the same time, as the one who is looking after this sector for quite some time, I can say that 10,000 or 20,000 FPOs for 140 million farmers is very small number, and actually you require more and more number of FPOs. Now that is where the new paradigm is shifting, and also the way the Indian agriculture is gravitating towards this collectivization. It's going to create a new kind of a buzz and a new kind of a profitability. So now what kind of a benefits actually these people can have? Actually, that when we did the study, we found there is quite a lot of an economic impact, there is quite a lot of a social impact, and there is quite a lot of other benefits, monetary impact actually these people have seen. So seeing this success, NABARD is promoting very, maybe in every place, the FPOs in a very big way in all the sectors, not only agriculture, but even in the allied sectors also. Now, I would like to give you a few of the examples, because this is one of the list which we shared with the Prime Minister's office, that really which are the areas where the FPOs have done a tremendous work. Actually, there are close to around 10,000 plus FPOs right now in the country. But if I want to just say maybe some 4 or 5, which is for the information of the people who are listening. There is one FPO called the Sahyadri FPO in Maharashtra, where there are 10,000 members are there. And these people are able to produce to the market, pack to the market, process to the market, and supply to the market through a kind of a WhatsApp and also other kind of a platform. So now they are able to do so much of a work. And today, actually, this is one of the most successful kind of a story which everybody can talk about. Likewise, even in Nellore of Andhra Pradesh also, that one of the FPOs have created a kind of a WhatsApp group for marketing, where they are able to directly send the product, fruits and vegetables to the households, and making a lot of money, and in turn passing on the benefits to them. Likewise, you have just maybe many such kind of things in various other states, which we have seen, whether they are the forest produce kind of FPOs, or the vegetable FPOs, fruit FPOs, or anything. And now, as a financier, I would like to say that many of the FPOs are already becoming financially viable, and they are able to borrow substantial amount from the institutions. And now we have a subsidiary called NABKisan. We have already financed around 800 FPOs so far. And now some of the FPOs, if I really tell that, actually everybody will get wonderstruck that a farmers organization is able to do a business of around 20 to 25 crores, and at the same time deliver close to around 50% of additional profit to the farmer who is its member. So now this is where I think we have to look into it very, very closely as to really how to organize the future of agriculture. So now the list will be so much, so I just don't want to tell you, but at the same time, it is such a great kind of a thing that is happening with regard to the agriculture in the recent days. Now, when I look into this one, as to really how the FPOs are being now encouraged. Now, take the case of recent drone policy of the Government of India. Government of India 3 days back has come out with a new drone policy for agriculture, and they told that 100% or up to 10 lakhs of the cost. Actually, the drone will be given subsidy up to 100% to ICAR institutes, agricultural universities, KVKs and others to popularize the technology. The next one is that 75% of the subsidy up to 5 lakhs will be given to the agricultural graduates or anybody who is doing this custom hire centers. And the third one is with regard to 40% of the subsidy up to 4 lakhs will be given to the FPOs. And also the per hour kind of a subsidy is also being given. Imagine the way the government is trying to bring such kind of a changes, so that because now we have experimented with the drones in 2 agricultural universities, and we found that the results are spectacular. Some of the things which could not be done by manually can be done in a jiffy by the drone. Recently, I had seen a demonstration where we found that 1 acre of direct seeding of paddy in the normal course, if it takes maybe close to half a day, actually it takes only 6 minutes to do that kind of a thing. And it hardly costs anything in case if you do the drone. And also they are doing the pestilence survey, they are doing the other kinds of surveys, they are doing the spray schedules, everything has been linked to the drone. When these things are happening, the drones have got a very, very big kind of a say in the future of agriculture. And also the latest development somewhere in China and also in the US is that already there are robots which can walk in the fields have already come, and now it's a matter of time when they are introduced in this country also. If that is the case, the normal weeding, hoeing, and also other kinds of operations can be done by these robots. Now, when these robots are put into place, we feel that in future, the farmer is no more a farmer or a cultivator. He is only a farm manager because he has to operate through all these kinds of things. That is where the entire agriculture is gravitating towards that kind of a development that are taking place with regard to the technology. So now this thing coupled with re-employing the rural youth. Now when that agriculture is not able to engage so much of a rural youth, actually the time has come to think about really how to redeploy these rural youth into the gainful activities. So that is where now many institutions and governments are thinking of doing quite a lot of a work. One is that skill mapping of these rural youth is being happening, and also giving a new skill sets to all of them so that they can get gainfully employed somewhere else. And also the other one is with regard to that agri-related rural entrepreneurships. Actually, this is where that agri-business incubation centers and others are also working. And also the last one is with regard to giving the hand-holding support, facilitating credit linkage to ensure a translation of skill development into entrepreneurship. Now, this is where the developmental financial institution like NABARD is working so closely with many institutions so that the rural youth who have been displaced by this kind of a new mechanization and also their aspirations, actually they should have a kind of a gainful employment somewhere, and that is also one of the things which we have to work on it. So that is how this rural entrepreneurship has to be worked in such a way. So to do such kind of a things, the Agri Incubation Centers have come. ICAR also has got quite a lot. Now, NABARD had set up 7 Agri Incubation Centers in agriculture universities and in 1 or 2 ICR institutions and also IIT. So now here we have seen that quite a lot of new technologies are being developed. Agripreneurs have come in a very big way, and these people are bringing all kinds of disruptive technologies so that the farming and also the operations can become much better, and also they will become more profitable. Quite a lot of evaluation is happening. So now when all these things are happening, we are extremely upbeat as to really what is going to happen with this one. So now to encourage these agripreneurs, actually we have to give some kind of a funding to them. Now that the Agri Incubation Centers will give the primary hand-holding, but afterwards, when this agripreneur goes into his own production process, actually he will face lots of difficulties with regard to the market. And many of you might have seen that in the startup ecosystem, there is a kind of concept called that valley of death. Actually, that maybe after the prototype has been tested in the market, then there will be a kind of inertia that comes into this one because the entrepreneur may not be having the money to pursue the activity. So not to let him go just like that, we have created a catalytic capital for such kind of agripreneurs, where that the money will be given to such kind of a successfully demonstrated agripreneurs so that they will pass through this kind of valley of death and become the commercially viable. And the next one is that wherever the success happens, actually that we have to go into that next stage that is called the venture capital funding. Now there are so many venture capitals are there even in agriculture. Now today of the 70,000 startups that are there in the country, close to around 1,500 are in agriculture. And there are 3 or 4 dedicated venture capital funds which are there in the agriculture. NABARD has got a venture capital fund called the NAB Ventures, and already we have given almost around 10 such kind of ventures we have financed, and some of them are already valuations are going up so high. So we are very happy that the next future of agriculture is with regard to bringing a synergy between the startups, agri entrepreneurship, agri business incubation centers, and the progressive farmers, and also the FPOs. When all these things are going to have a kind of a synergy and convergence, agriculture is going to become very, very profitable to the farmers. So that is where we have to work on it. And the next major thing which to make that agriculture from subsistence to maybe the profitability, if you have to look into it, giving a big push to the agri exports is the major kind of a requirement, and everyone is working on it. As I was telling before, that now from $50 billion to $100 billion, if we have to go in the next maybe 4 or 5 years, a kind of an enabling infrastructure has to be created. So for that, agri export facilitation centers are coming, and also that the entrepreneurs, that is the exporters, are being given a kind of a hand holding. And the other thing which is happening is that the major requirement of the importing countries have to be known to the people who are cultivating the crops. I want to give you one example here, that basmati is one of our famous kind of export-oriented rice product. Now, in the last 3 years, actually, that Indian basmati, generally cultivated in Karnal and also the other place in Punjab, Haryana, it's getting stiff resistance from the importers, even in the Gulf countries. That is because of the pesticide residue, which is, they are able to notice it in the grain. So now, looking into this kind of a resistance, the EPEDA, NABARD, and also the exporters have created a kind of a group where that FPOs have been created, so that a good economic practices have been, protocols have been devised, and the crops are being raised. So now the first crop is almost in the next 1 or 2 months, actually the crop is going to come. When that comes, actually, that we want to test whether that is going to meet the requirements of that importers. If that is the case, I think Indian agriculture, wherever that export orientation is there, actually we have to look into it much more seriously to follow the protocols, particularly with regard to that phytosanitary issues. And then we should educate the farmers to cultivate the crops for that kind of importing countries, so that they will get a higher kind of a remuneration. So now these are the things which we have to look into it. Besides that, we have to identify that clusters for development of this agri exports, because for each thing, actually, there can be clusters can be developed, and also agro processing zones also are coming, and we should be able to do it. And already quite a lot of work is being done, because NABARD is the pass-through agency to give that kind of a food processing kind of a subsidy. And quite a lot of food parks are already coming, and also agro processing clusters are coming. And we are very upbeat that in the days to come, that Indian agriculture export orientation is going to take a very big seat, and that is going to create much better kind of a remuneration to the farmers. And the other one is with regard to this agripreneurs. Now, actually, as I told, that now these agripreneurs are our agri clinic and agri business centers kind of a thing, agricultural graduates. These are all the people whom we are encouraging and others are encouraging, so that the banking system is coming to their rescue, so that these people can give their helping hand to the farmers in a very big way. So when I look into all these things, I say that we have come a long way from the subsistence agriculture of producing around 50 million tons in 1950s to close to around 315 or 310 million tons. So in the last 75 years of independence, agriculture sector has grown from strength to strength and contributed immensely to the nation building. And also that it is doing quite a lot of work for that re-employment of the people in the rural areas and others. But however, I'll say that maybe before ending my speech, I say that now the time has come for us to go into a kind of a smart agriculture, because this is the requirement of the say. As we told, that disruption is the need of tomorrow, and it is happening, and new jobs are being created, new kind of a mandates are being created. So if that is the case, agriculture is also not going to be immune to such kind of a changes that are happening in this entire ecosystem. So smart agriculture is the one which we all have to embrace as institutions which are propelling this kind of a growth. And the smart agriculture is nothing but putting the technology revolution, which encompasses big data, artificial intelligence, IoTs, computing and blockchain, nanotechnology, etc., that has to accelerate this kind of agricultural growth. So all these things are now being taken up in a very big way by these agripreneurs and also the startups. And we have a very strong belief that agriculture startups are going to become a very big kind of a thing in the days to come. So now it is imperative for all of us to strive for this kind of a self-reliant farming sector, which encompasses technology, which absorbs the developments that are taking place, and which takes maybe into account all the institutions that are working with it. That is the research institutions of ICAR, agriculture universities, NABARD, banks, central and state governments, all those things actually, when we look into it, a great amount of synergy is required by all of us to propel this Indian agriculture from the present stage to the next stage. As I look into it, when China is able to produce 450 million tons with only 90 million hectares of land, I think India has got much better scope. And my discussions with many people in the ministries and others, they reveal that now India should become a food export basket and food exporting nation. If that is the case, there is a requirement for all of us to make a kind of a synergistic effort so that collectively we will herald a new dawn for India, transforming the subsistence farmers into vibrant producers and evolve this Indian agriculture sector into an integrated and essential part of the sustainable development roadmap. We at NABARD, being the development financial institution, have utmost confidence that the way the changes are happening, the way the changes are being taken by the people, and the farmers in the rural areas are also so tech savvy, so many things are getting absorbed, that in the days to come, I think we are going to see a different kind of agriculture than what we all have studied and seen. And for that, the credit institutions are doing their own job. As I want to say that in 2001 and 2, that entire credit given to the agriculture was around 50,000 crores. And last year we have given 15.7 lakh crores. And this year we are going to use 16.5 lakh crores. And in the days to come, this is going to go up. That means actually that now the credit institutions have come up the way and they are giving substantial help to the farmers who are taking up this activity in the right earnest. And that is how this entire Indian agriculture is going to become a very, very big enterprise. The very big private enterprise in the world is the Indian agriculture. And it is going to be the very big private profitable enterprise. That is our wish. And I wish that institutions like ICAR institutions and also agriculture universities and everyone will also take note of these developments and check ahead as to really how to take this technology into their fold and taking it to the field and the farmers level. Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir, for the amazing lecture. Now, if any specific questions are there, participants can interact with sir.
Yes, I have one. Can I speak?
Yes, sir.
Good afternoon, Dr. Chintala Sahab. This is O.P. Yadav from Kajri, Jodhpur.
Oh, good afternoon.
Good to see you. And thank you very much for your very scintillating presentation and creating a history, covering the whole history from where we started and where we are. I need basically one thing to update you. You made a statement quoting Ashok Gulati that the yields in India, crop yields in India are tapering off.
Yeah.
And you also quoted that he basically did some analysis.
Yeah.
Very interestingly, we also did one analysis.
Yes.
Myself, Dr. Mahapatra, Dr. Dhillon, and one more person, in which we assessed the productivity growth in 4 phases: pre-green revolution, and post-green revolution, 2 phases. I will definitely send that paper to you.
Please, sir.
The thing is that in comparison to the green revolution growth in rice from 1965 to 80, and when we compare today, there is 3 times more growth in crop productivity today than it was in the green revolution period in rice. So yields are not tapering off, they are 300% more than rate of growth. This is as far as rice is concerned. When you take maize and when you take palm millet, the hybrid crops, the rate of growth is 600% more than what you achieved during the green revolution. And in case of wheat, it is 110% more now than what you obtained in the green revolution period. So please, next time.
Okay, I will just go through it.
Yeah,
We will also do
okay.
quite a lot of work.
And one thing, sir, you mentioned that the amount of the credit this country has given to the farmers. I'm very curious to know how much of this credit has gone into subsidy and how much of the credit facility have gone into the infrastructure creation. Because you as a banker and we as a technologist, if we cannot convince the government that we should do more investment on infrastructure rather than giving freebies to the farming community, I don't know how long we will sustain.
Yeah, I think I can answer it. The credit will not go into subsidy. What I spoke is the credit part only. There are three things are there with regard to the agricultural credit. One is with regard to the credit per se. The other one is the interest subvention. Now that credit is actually out of the 15.7 lakh crores which we are given, close to around 10 lakh crores have gone for the crop production, and remaining 5.5 lakh crores have gone for the creating the private infra or maybe the allied activities. It can be the animal husbandry, it can be the minor tube wells or maybe minor irrigation structures, tractors or any kind of thing. And the interest subvention which is being given by is close to around 28 to 30,000 crores the government give to see that the farmers get that credit at around 4%. That is first at 7%, then the intense incentive is there, and with 3%, so he will get at 4%. So this is the one. So in that way, actually, that there is absolutely no conflict of interest between that subsidy being given and also the other things. The other one is with regard to the infrastructure. You told that now there are 2 or 3 types of infrastructure creation. One is infrastructure at the private level, the farmer level, where he borrows money and does it. The next one is that infrastructure created at the governmental level. That is where actually NABARD gives money to the state governments under the RID, Rural Infrastructure Development Fund, where from 96, 97 onwards, we started giving it. And now from which started with 2,000 crores. So today it is starting at 40,000 crores per year. And in the last 27 years, we gave around 4.9 lakh crores of such kind of a concessional kind of a credit to the state governments to create the irrigation infrastructure, to create the roads, market accessibilities, and few other things. So now, with this kind of an investment, so far around 35 million hectares has come under the irrigation under the kind of it. So this is how we are happening. And the next one is that you are talking about infrastructure. Now that Agri Infra Fund, AIF, which the government of India is talking, that is also to create a kind of an infrastructure at the ground level. So now whether it is the customer hiring centers or the packing houses, logistics, cold storage and other things. So that scheme has been designed to get 1 lakh crores from the banking institutions. I think in the last 1 year, I think close to around 6 or 7,000 crores has been given, but it is still making a progress.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any other participants?
Yes, sir. Myself, Dr. Naresh from India, right? It was an excellent lecture, sir. Congratulations. You have given a very good overview on agriculture. And the message from your lecture is very clear that innovation is the key in times to come, where technology dissemination to the farmers, to the end user is the driving force for the agriculture growth in India. But what I'm sharing my experience with you in most of the institutions, whether it is ICAR, DBT, DSP, CSIR, we have a lot of innovations and a lot of technologies have been developed. But as far as the dissemination is concerned of those technology to the end user, maybe the farmers or industry, is very, very low. So how to build up that linkage between the industry and the end users with the institutions to disseminate these technologies which have been most of the institutions particularly with the startups or with the entrepreneurs and food business operators. This is one of the questions. And apart from that, there are, you mentioned about export, that India will be leading now in agriculture in export also. So there, our international trade law, they are such that, and we are in a fragmented situation. We don't have the organized farm system, where you see the quality and safety is one of the big issue with respect to the export of the product. So under these conditions, you see how you foresee and how to build up that mechanism to disseminate the technology in a domestic level and at the same time to boost export. This is my
Thank you, Doctor. I know that extension is a very big job, but it is happening. But now what we have seen, okay, now I'm not saying that whatever we speak, tell is the final word, but the startups, wherever we have seen, actually that they somehow go around the institutions, depending on the way, the project which they are working. They take all the technologies that are available and try to customize and take it to the farmers. The other one is with regard to the FPOs, which we have seen in many places. FPOs have got a direct link with the KVKs and also the other institutions of the ICR and agricultural universities. And they take the latest technologies that are available, because I have seen in one in Erode that FPO works so closely with that KVK that now from that banana stem, actually they extract a resin. KVK has developed so many products with regard to that. From the resin, they are going to make some other products. And from that fiber, they are making so many other products. And at the same time, for banana preservation, they developed a kind of a technology. And these FPOs are owning quite a lot. So now actually what I said, because since I am also from the same agriculture and ICR kind of a system, which I have seen, that somewhere actually that the research institutions have to go a step forward to see really how these FPOs operating under your jurisdiction, whether really they are taking the technology forward. Because in dairy also quite a lot of improvements are happening. And now you just take, there is one startup that has come that is direct to home milk, some IIM people have done. Now that they say that the normal dairy milk which we get is almost around 48 hours old or maybe 72 hours old. It goes through the process. But these IIM people say that actually the milk that has been there, they are supplying is only 6 hours kind of a thing. And it is fresh and they are charging around 80 to 90 rupees and there are so many customers. Likewise, now we have done one thing in that maybe tender cuts. There is a kind of a startup where that animal husbandry, that is the meat and other things are done. Now the normal kind of a meat, generally that it is done somewhere in abattoir and somebody will put a stamp and it comes to the market and a little bit of unhygienic kind of a thing, but still people buy it. But now these licious and also this kind of a tender cuts, these people have made the things in such a way that the animal is slaughtered under their jurisdiction and immediately that is the carcass is blast frozen and it is taken into the showroom without any kind of a human touch or any kind of thing. Then subsequently that there is utmost hygiene is there. When the customer comes or orders, actually the order is executed in the most hygienic fashion. So that is why the normal chicken or if you look into it, actually the normal chicken costs maybe something around 200 rupees per kilo in case if you buy in the normal market. But this licious supplies at around 400 rupees for a half kilo, but still there are many buyers because they're able to get the similar kind of thing. So now the technology, whatever is being developed in the institutions is finding the way, but at the same time, I feel that institutions also have to go a step forward to see that they entice the FPOs, entice the entrepreneurs to see that they will do it. And you charge a little bit because ultimately these people are taking money. It's not that they are doing free, but at the same time, you also will become contemporary by taking this kind of a technology.
Thank you, sir. Any other questions?
Sir, namaste, sir. I'm Sarela from CTR Erasmus. Sir, in your discussions, you told that you are giving support to that incubation centers at ICR also, sir. So it's a very good thing, sir. It also helps in transferring of the technology as well as creating gainful employment in the rural youth. Sir, what is the criteria, sir? You choose the institutions, how you are financing those institutions?
No, actually, criteria, no, there is a criteria now. Actually, NARM, we had an incubation center. Then Telangana Agriculture University, we gave an incubation center. Madurai Agriculture University, we had incubation center. Then Gwalior, we gave. Haryana, we gave. Then IIT Kharagpur, we gave. In that way, it is there because criteria are well laid out. Actually, we can circulate. There is no issue for that. But thing is, there should be a kind of a direction. There is a kind of a deliverables. And a log frame has to be there as to really how to make this entire thing be done and how many entrepreneurs you are going to incubate. There are 100, 150, and really what is the outcome and all those. Now take the case of University in Madurai and also Telangana. Both of them have almost maybe incubated close to around 180 to 200 each. And all of them are doing very well, bringing the new products and maybe quite a lot of the things are happening. So definitely that everybody can do that one. And now the fitness of the institute will be decided by the way you write your DPR or such kind of a things. So,
Thank you, sir. Any last query?
so if nobody is there, before winding up, I want to thank Dr. Chandrasekhar of CTRI, who is my childhood classmate up to the graduation and my roommate, and who is instrumental, who said that I have to speak to the ICAR scientists. And I always felt so happy that speaking to our fraternity of agriculture is always a great thing, because there will be a lot of appreciation with regard to the technology part which we speak about. And I'm extremely happy to him for his contribution to rope me in for this one. And also I'm thankful to the director for encouraging him to organize this kind of a seminar.
Thank you, sir. Now I request our director, sir, to give his remarks.
Now we have gone through a very excellent and very enriching lecture by a very expert person, Dr. Chintala, because he is one who has got a lot of experience in handling the agriculture development as well as the rural development. He is the one who is the banker for both the sectors, and both the sectors cannot be separated, because whatever happens, whatever development takes place in rural development generally acts as a catalyst for agriculture development, and agriculture development can't be expected without proper rural infrastructure, rural development. And agriculture, in fact, creates an environment for the faster rural development. So he is the one having so much of knowledge and also expertise in both the domains. I think today we are, every one of us has got insights into how the things are going on, not only right now, but also in the past. Maybe he started with 1911. So you can just imagine how it has enriched us. He started talking about the poor state of affairs in Indian agriculture way back in 1950s, before 1950s, and during the Green Revolution, what happened, regional disparities, so many things he talked about, and in fact, myriad aspects of transformation of agriculture from the subsistence to the present day commercial agriculture. So he is thoroughly talked about every aspect of the things, and I am very much convinced now there is every reason for us to really come together and put in our best efforts to see that what he has talked about, some of the things like now there is an urgent need to go in for crop diversification. Crop diversification, or putting more focus on the multi-enterprise systems rather than only concentrating on single commodities, which has been the case hitherto. Now, sir, to your surprise, I don't know if it's a coincidence, this Central Tobacco Research Institute has now taken a decision. Almost now it is pending with the government, the final approval for our proposal to shift the focus from single commodity research, like we have been focusing on tobacco. Now, right now, we are now shifting to multi-commodity based commercial agriculture. So in the years, I think this institute is going to live up to your expectations, what you talked about just now. And in this the journey that is ahead, I think it is definitely is going to be fraught with many challenges. And the challenges that you touched upon, few of them, like small holding, fragmenting of the land holdings, those definitely create problems in smooth transformation of the agriculture from the present days, the subsistence to the really profit securing and income securing agriculture. We already achieved kind of food security and also the nutrition security. But now the buzzword is to go how to achieve the income security to the farmers, and also how to ensure the profits, sustainable profits to the farming community. And you talked in that process, you talked about FPOs. Now ICR is also, sir, I'm happy to inform you that KVKs are now fully involved in creating the FPOs across the country. We are also doing it with our own KVK in this district of Andhra Pradesh, East Godavari district. And you talked about investments. That is again a key area, sir. Without investments, we can't be expecting a transformation that is to our liking. Agriculture infrastructure creation and agro logistics creation, particularly cold storages, processing units, then storage like transport, export promotion units, some of those things are very much needed. Value addition processing centers also, and more importantly, skilling and skill mapping. And that is again an area which actually we have not paid much attention. But now with the aim to retain youth in the agriculture sector, probably Government of India has also paid a lot of attention. Now skilling is taking place, and skill mapping has to be done so as to take maximum advantage of the skills that are already available. Some of these things are smart agriculture. At the end, you talked about smart agriculture. We are also very much interested in creating a smart agriculture for promoting the commercial agriculture. So smart agriculture involves real smart thinking, knowledge-based interventions, not only skills, sir, but like drone technology you have just touched upon. So like that, technologies are emerging now, and with the kind of environment that we are creating for transforming the agriculture, probably in the years to come, we would definitely see a sea change as far as the purpose for which agriculture is practiced. And with that reorientation of the focus, probably the Indian farmers also, as well as all the people who are connected with the farming, probably they get encouraged, and they do a lot of contribution to the overall development of the agriculture sector. Thank you very much, sir. And this is the finest lecture so far we had, sir. Though without formal presentations through slides and other things, but this has been really enriching lecture, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Once again, thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you, sir. Now I request Dr. C. Chandrasekhar Rao, sir, Head in Charge, Division of Crop Chemistry and Soil Science, to propose formal vote of thanks.
Thank you, Dr. Govind, for your very thought-provoking and scintillating lecture. And on behalf of the Director CTRI, on behalf of the scientists of CTRI, I sincerely thank you for readily accepting our invitation to deliver the lecture, and also giving a real focus on how we have to do research in future, especially keeping in view the smart agriculture. I once again thank you very much. I thank all the scientists across the country, all the directors for participating in this particular lecture. Sir, we sincerely thank Dr. O.P. Yadav, the Director, Kazri, sir, for your participation and also for your interaction with this one speaker. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you, Govind.
Thank you.